it's not that if you don't have only people of your community, then you risk losing your minority character. Because the choice is yours. You may have persons belonging to your community, you may not have persons belonging to your community.
Just to give an example, Mullah, that I have myself experienced, I happened to be in the governing body of St. Stephen's at one point in time, Mullah. Most of it were non-minority people. Minority will not have the expertise to run the institution, many of these institutions. Will not have. Perforce, we'll have to take people from outside. That's why St. Stephen says, have faith and founders in whom the founders have faith and confidence. I have confidence in 10 people in the majority community to run my institution. I'll give it to them to run it. The genesis and the conceptual constitutional genesis is you can't have institutions in the country without standardization in the field of education. And that standardization can only be provided by law under 19. And the law will apply to majority institutions and to minority institutions. Kindly see, Mullah, the impact of administration is again my choice. I hope, Mullah, I'm making myself clear. In some of these technical things, we'll have no knowledge, especially in a medical college. So we'll get people from outside and say, you please help us in doing this. And they may be in majority. But the choice is that I will say, please come. That doesn't destroy the character of my institution. So different standards will apply to different disciplines depending on the nature of the course that I am teaching. It is true of engineering as well.
The only difference here, we'll consider it. I mean, I'm not putting it as something against you, but a factor to be considered is that by the statute itself, you have to induct into your court a large number of people who are not minorities. This is as a matter of statutory interdite.
That's all right. But I can challenge it. Mullah, let's put it this way.
Does that alter the...
No. I can challenge it, Mullah. Kindly, that's the point that I made yesterday. If the statute interferes to the extent that I feel that my right to administration, which is the right conferred under 30, is being impeded, I can challenge it. But I can accept it. So the statute, and Mullah, we are not here dealing with the administration. This, Mullah, please appreciate, Basha never dealt with the administration. Basha said, I have come to the conclusion that you are not established. The minority has not established this institute. And therefore you can't administer.
Basha went on the establishment.
So you don't have to go into that, Mullah. We really don't have to deal. The problem arose that in Basha was, the council argued that assume that I am not established as a minority institution, because the administration is
established and administered disjunctively.
That was
the argument.
That was rejected in Basha. That was rejected in Basha.
There can't be any doubt that it's established and
administered.
You can't read that and as or.
So therefore,
you have not. Dr. Dhawan has also not argued
and
that.
Therefore, overwhelming participation of others in the administration, even if they are in a majority, even if by statute, will not destroy the character of the university. Because if I feel that my right is being impeded, I can challenge it. But I'm not. And the fact of the matter is, Mullah, if your Lordship looks at the structure, and you need not in this case, because we are not dealing with that. In fact, it was overwhelmingly Muslim despite the statute. De facto. But we don't have to go into that, Mullah. We can't in a reference go beyond what your Lordships are asked to decide. So, Mullah, therefore, now I was trying to show, Mullah, that all these regulations fall under 1906. The genesis and the conceptual constitutional genesis is you can't have institutions in the country without standardization in the field of education. And that standardization can only be provided by law under 19. And the law will apply to majority institutions and to minority institutions. And UGC and all other statutes are consistent with 19. The right under 30 is absolute, the choice, but the regulation is to be done under a law by Parliament under 1906. That's Mullah, the submission and the interplay of 1906 with Article 31 of the Constitution. In the context of what my Lord has put in, my Lord the Chief Justice, kindly note, Mullah, I won't read it. Kindly note, Mullah, volume 5A, PDF 417, paragraph 41 of St. Stephen's. Volume 5A, PDF 417, paragraph 41 of St. Stephen's, and I'll read that sentence to you. The right to administer is the right to conduct and manage the affairs of the institution. This right is exercised by a body of persons in whom the founders have faith and confidence. That doesn't limit it to the minority. This is 5A, PDF 417, paragraph 41. This sentence is between placetum G and placetum H.
Page number?
417, volume 5A. It's between G and H, which says exactly what I'm trying to, let's say, consistent with my submission before your lordships.
Actually, therefore, it's important to clear a cobweb, which is that Article 30 does not mandate that administration must be only by the minority itself.
That's correct.
In the sense that the personnel who administer are not required by Article 30 to belong to the minority itself.
Exactly.
What Article 30 contemplates and recognizes is the right, namely the right of choice, the discretion which is given to the minority to administer.
That's correct.
In a manner which they deem appropriate.
Correct.
Therefore, it's not that if you don't have only people of your community,
Correct.
then you risk losing your minority character.
Correct.
Because the choice is yours. You may have persons belonging to your community, you may not have persons belonging to your community.
Just to give an example, Mullah, that I have myself experienced, I happened to be in the governing body of St. Stephen's at one point in time, Mullah. Most of it were non-minority people.
The essential element of Article 30 is the conferment of choice on the minority.
That's correct. That's correct. So we are missing the link, Mullah.
It can't be read in the reverse to impose an embargo that you will not have anybody save your community.
Mullah, the minority will not have the expertise to run the institution, many of these institutions. Will not have. Perforce, we'll have to take people from outside. That's why St. Stephen says, have faith and founders in whom the founders have faith and confidence. I have confidence in 10 people in the majority community to run my institution. I'll give it to them to run it. Doesn't make the institution a non-minority institution because it is founded by the minority. The inspiration to set up an institution is that of the minority. The steps taken to set up the institution is of the minority. The persuasion done by the institution to the government and the authorities is by the minority. So as long as these elements are satisfied, it's founded by the minority.
Can you come again on that? The inspiration to set up...
The inspiration to set up the institution is by the minority. The steps taken for persuasion are by the minority. The essential paraphernalia of initial funding by the minority. Persuading the authorities to accept that fact by the minority. And all these elements are satisfied in this case. So the genesis of the institution is the test. That is antecedent to recognition. All that is antecedent to recognition. And Basha says, because you are incorporated, you have lost the status of a minority. This is the problem. This is the problem with Basha. And remember, Malats, when Basha was decided in 68, In-Ray Education Bill was already there. Not referred to in Basha.
It is referred to.
Well, not dealt with. Siddhaj Bhai.
Dealt with also.
Siddhaj Bhai already there. And of course, now we have TMA Pi and other issues, other judgments.